every morning with drive. Being on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble.
Hello and welcome into the Rookie Prospect Profile Series. This is a Zilla Fantasy Elite production. Today we're going to be looking at wide receiver Keon Coleman in the wide receiver machine learning models for the rookies. Can Keon Coleman live up to the hype, or will they disappoint us in our fantasy evaluation? Discover the outcome as our machine learning models provide the final say. Keon Coleman was drafted number 33 by the Buffalo Bills. They come into the league out of Florida State University. Keon Coleman comes in at a height of 6'3" and 213 pounds. So a pretty big guy there. He's actually pretty explosive, a 38-inch vertical for him. And then he actually ran a 4.61 at the combine. Not a very good result. I think he later on ran one at his pro day and hit the low 4.5s. But yeah, the 4.61 is officially what went into the model because that's what he ran at the combine. Getting drafted by the Buffalo Bills, early second round. You know, this guy's got a lot of hype. What's his profile look like? Well, it's kind of an interesting one. Let's go along on the journey, but let's first dive into the first year predictions here. Stay tuned for what his profile looks like for the whole first 4 years of his career in the NFL. So diving into Keon Coleman's first year rookie season here, he looks pretty solid on there, even though he was the 8th wide receiver drafted. A lot of those ranks, number 2 minimum, so second best minimum prediction across the board for all rookies this season. And then his mean median at 5th best in the class, 9.39, 9.48. And then his maximum output at 13.86 is 7th best in the class. Kind of looking there, it's a little bit skewed. So, hey, his lower end scores, they're not coming across very frequently. And then once you kind of ramp up there, everything's squished together where it's leading to his maximum output to be a little bit lower than some of those in his class. This is one of the best CVs in the entire rookie season or the entire rookie class here at 16.5 for a CV. Second best in the class for the year one as well. So getting into that mean median, hovering around 9.5, 9.3, what does that look like in year one compared to historical last 11 classes? We got Kenbrell Tompkins and Corey Coleman hovering at 9.3 apiece. A little bit below that, Josh Downs, 9.24. Pretty solid rookie campaign there. John Brown, 9.2. Derek Wiley's, 9.1. Robert Foster, 9.8. And we actually have DeAndre Hopkins and Jackson Smith and Jigba. The next one's on the list at 8.9 and 8.81. So a little bit struggling there in their first seasons. DeAndre Hopkins, maybe an interesting one there. He's a little bit bigger body guy and struggled there at the first season. Getting a little bit above that range, we have, like I said, Josh Downs at 9.2, Kenbrell Tompkins, Corey Coleman at the 9.3 range, and then Darnell Mooney hit 9.51. D.D. Westbrook hit 9.6. Same with Terrence Williams and Tyler Lockett. Allen Hurns, 9.7. George Pickens, 9.79. Deontay Johnson and DJ Moore both hit 9.8. So really kind of hovering in that range for average predicted outcome. I don't think we'd be too disappointed if he hit that 10 fantasy points per game in his rookie season or just below that. You got some pretty solid names in there. That maximum output at 13.86, what does that look like? That'd be a top 15 year all time if he hits a ceiling here. So fantasy points per game, Juju Smith-Schuster, 13.7. Terry McLaurin, 13.7 in their rookie seasons. CeeDee Lamb, 13.61. A.J. Brown, 13.6. Last year, Jaden Reed, 13.58. And just above that, Brandon Cooks at 13.9. Kelvin Benjamin, really good rookie season, 14.1. Keenan Allen, 14.6. Tank Dell, 15 flat last year. Really good year for him. Then Jalen Waddle, 15.36. Brandon Ayuk, 15.38. You're getting into the top 10 of all time there. That's if Keon Coleman hits his ceiling. Certainly landed in a spot where he should garner lots of targets, but I don't know about the fit for Keon Coleman there in Buffalo. It sounds like we've heard Billy Bean, the GM, talking about how they want to use him as an X receiver. Everything that I've heard is, especially from reception perception, he can't beat press man coverage, which is absolutely like a no-go for any X receivers. If they can't do that, they're not really going to be successful. I know Matt Harmon was saying that he thinks Keon Coleman would be best in the large slot roles. So somebody like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, a Cooper Kupp, somebody like that, where they're a little bit bigger body, but you can get them kind of in space there and they can wreak havoc once they get the ball in their hands. Rashee Rice, another one. But it sounds like they want to use him as an X receiver. I'm not so sure Keon Coleman will thrive in a situation like that. Let's take a look at the next year and kind of start building our picture. Again, this is a pretty accurate assessment here, 16.5% CV. Anything under 20 is, pretty solid there for any data set. And we're working with some pretty high variant stuff here in fantasy football and, football in general being 22 people on the field at one time. So fairly accurate here. Let's get into year 2 and start building a picture of what Keon Coleman might look like in his first 4 years in the NFL. So we see here in year 2, just a very slight improvement here on the mean and median, sitting at 9.07 and 8.98. Those are the 6th best in the class, so dropped a little bit compared to his counterparts. Does have the 4th best minimum output, so that's still pretty good. His maximum output at 14.24 fantasy points per game is 10th best in the class. And again, we have a CV here of 20 flat, which is pretty good. Like I said, anything 20 or below is kind of considered pretty good for any data set. Again, we're working with some pretty highly variable data, so this is pretty confident that Keon Coleman's going to look like this. He had that 16% in year 1. The CV for this year is 5th best in the class. Pretty confident that this is a pretty accurate assessment of what he's going to look like when he comes in. Let's look at that average. What did year 2 players look like, and who was hovering around that 9 flat fantasy points per game? We got quite a few people just below that. Marquez Callaway, 8.93. Rashad Bateman, Travis Fulgham both hit 8.92. James Washington, 8.9. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8.88. Darius Slayton, 8.81. Not an inspiring list there. Just a little bit above 9. We have Alan Lazard at 9.3. KJ Osborne, 9.32. Preston Williams, 9.35. JJ Nelson, 9.5. Nico Collins, 9.71. So again, that's not really a super inspiring list of people that he's averaging out to on the year 2 list. We didn't see any necessarily same hits that we saw from his year 1 profile there in the median output, but let's look at that maximum, 14.24. Where does that fall? It's going to be just outside the top 30 all time in terms of year 2 output. 14.2 for Mike Evans. That's a good name. Michael Pittman, 14.04. Cortland Sutton, 13.9. John Brown, 13.8. Same with Kenny Golladay. A little bit above that, we have Amari Cooper's 2nd season, 14.3. DeAndre Hopkins. See his name pop up here on the maximum output list at 14.4. And then Jordan Matthews, 14.4. Chris Olave, 14.46 last year. CeeDee Lamb in his 2nd season hit 14.55. And then Deontay Johnson, 14.79. Gives a little bit better idea if he hits his maximum output, which, 1,000 out of 1,000 or 100 percentile outcome. He's going to look like some of those guys. And certainly for anybody who drafts him, I hope that's the case for you guys if you draft him. All right, let's get into year 3 and start building out his first 4 season in the NFL profile. Year 3 looking a little bit better here. Again, he improves slightly in the mean and median, 9.34, 9.38. Again, very slight improvement, but that rank, top 5 in the class. He's pretty much top 5 across the board for the entirety of his whole output, minimum at rank 8, 2.24 fantasy points per game. But yeah, just hovering around that 9 flat, so 9.3 this time. His maximum output went up a pretty decent amount there though, 18.83. We see him crack the top 5 here in terms of his max output in the class. And then that CV, 27.7, is top 10 in the class, number 8. Still pretty confident in that in terms of the rest of his cohorts. Pretty confident in this result that he can hit that and be kind of a top 5 guy in the class. Let's look at that 9.3 range for his mean and median in year 3. What sort of year 3 players hit that out of ones that were drafted in the last 11 seasons? At exactly 9.3, we have Marcus Wheaton. Just below, Allen Hurns, 9.2. KJ Osborne, again, 9.15. Rashard Higgins, 9.1. Deontay Hardy, 8.7. Tyrell Williams, 8.6. MVS 8.58. Not exactly an inspiring list there. Kind of noticed the theme there in year 2 and year 3 with not super inspiring lists, but just above that, Juju Smith-Schuster 9.4. That's when he took a huge dip in year 3. Terrence Williams 9.6. Same with Cortland Sutton. Allen Lazard 9.78. Donovan Peoples-Jones 9.83. And Devontae Parker at 10. So that's not a super inspiring list for his medium output there. Let's get into that maximum output and see, hey, 18.83, what would that look like? Well, that's getting into top 10 territory. That'd be like the 9th best overall for a year 3 fantasy output. We see Mike Evans again in the high range here, 18.8 fantasy points per game in his 3rd season. Calvin Ridley hit 18.77. Odell Beckham, 18.5. CeeDee Lamb, 17.74, and Nico Collins again on the list, 17.36. Above that range, Chris Godwin, 19.6. Michael Thomas, 19.7. Keenan Allen, 20.2. Tyreek Hill, 20.5. So really getting up there in terms of some of the best year 3 outputs if he hits the ceiling. And again, for fantasy purposes, I certainly hope he does that. Machine learning model, though, kind of has his mean and median down there at 9. I do kind of want to address, these are rookie models. These are probably the least accurate models of all the machine learning models that I have been doing so far. If we get those veteran inputs in there, they've already played in the NFL. Those are way more signal than we have from some of these values or inputs coming in. So draft capital, certainly number 1 coming in. Then actually once we get that first year data, I don't think any of these inputs pop up on the most important list until it's like number 8 or number 9 on the list. And strikingly, it's hand size for wide receivers. That's one of the most important ones for year 2 wide receivers anyway, coming into the league and their year 2, 3, and 4 output. So kind of interesting there that hand size would play such a role like that. But let's get into the year 4 data and flesh out that Keon Coleman profile once and for all. Oof, now we look at that big drop off in year 4. So really what we saw is somebody that's kind of hanging around those top 5 wide receivers for those first 3 years. And whatever it's seeing in his profile, it says, hey, he's really going to take a dip compared to his counterparts in year 4. This is a profile not only against his counterparts, but in reality, he dropped there almost 3 fantasy points per game in his median output. Why did it do that? I don't know. That's math. It's saying based off of history, this is what you can expect him to do in year 4. And it's really dropped off there. Mean and median at 6.61 and 6.43. The 12th and 14th ranked mean and median in the class. A lot of this stuff hovering around 10th to 15th. His maximum, actually top 10 there at 15.63, is number 10 in the class. CV we've seen have gone up there. Kind of what you'd expect as that mean and median go down. The CV is going to get a little bit higher because we get a little bit more variation compared to the mean there. 23rd best CV in the class for year 4. So it's not as confident, but kind of saying he's spread out a little bit more than you'd hopefully want for that year 4 output. But let's go look at these mean and medians for him. I know year 1, 2, and 3, or year 2 and 3 weren't super good for him, but what's it look like in year 4 at 6.5 basically points per game? Olamide Zaccheaus at 6.47, Dante Moncrief at 6.4, same with Marquise Goodwin. Tajay Sharp, 6.3. Isaiah McKenzie, 6.22. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 6.07. Not an inspiring list there. A little bit above there, Demarcus Robinson, 6.7. Bruce Ellington, 6.9. John Brown, 7 overall, or 7 flat, excuse me. Greg Dortch, 7.07. So there's his average outcome in year 4. Similar to year 2 and year 3, it doesn't have a very exciting list of people there for his median outcome. And then we see his maximum output at 15.63. That's actually one of the better ones. Be like a top 12 score almost. Michael Pittman hit 15.64 in his 4th year, and that was good for 11th best. So, this is really top 12 overall if he hits a ceiling here. 15.58 for Brandon Ayuk, 14.63 for Juju Smith-Schuster, pretty big drop there. Amari Cooper, 14.4, Calvin Ridley, 14.22, Curtis Samuel, 14.14 in his fourth season. Then we look at a little bit above Michael Pittman. We have Tyreek Hill at number 10, 15.7. Devontae Adams, 15.9. Chris Godwin, 15.92. Jarvis Landry, 16.2 is getting into the top 7 there. So Keon Coleman, the max range there for year 4, even though it's 10th best in the class, it's getting up there in terms of one of the best ever, potentially. Top 10, top 12 in terms of all year 4 wide receivers. But that mean and median, we saw that in year 2, 3, and 4 really not be an inspiring list of people. If that is truly the case, like, oh man, I'm getting 9 fantasy points per game from my end of first round draft pick. This is not ideal. Hopefully you can hit towards one of those 90th, 100th percentile outcomes that seem to be pretty good on some of those. So that's going to do it for the Keon Coleman profile. Hopefully give you a little bit more information and go into your rookie drafts to make these decisions with. And hopefully these machine learning models are giving you that little bit of extra confidence in all those drafts. All right, as I said before, that's going to do it for today's rookie prospect profile on Keon Coleman. This is presented by Zilla Fantasy Elite. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.